Hello, my friends. Good afternoon, good evening, whether you are watching from Europe or from the US or from Asia, depends. So, welcome to this little bit unorthodox show. I have decided for this video because I know it's a little bit disturbing, but it's true. And today, Leviathan show is quite rare and it's always speaking about a little bit controversial topics, mainly war, genocide, fanaticism, and really, really black magic in all aspects of life. Because whether we want to say yes or no, it's not only about development, but many times magic and cults are also about manipulation. So, welcome again, and I'm going to speak today about these type of things that I was maybe avoiding in regular videos so far. I want to speak about things that are prevalent also in left-hand path, and sometimes when we are being like sometimes confronted by this, mostly by people that are outside from our circles. We know that there is a lot of witch hunts going on. There is a lot of fear from Satanism, from black magic, and many times, of course, it's produced by mass media, by horror movies, but to just simply say that this is all just illusion or it's just movies or it's fictional, it's not entirely true. Not even to these days. We know that there are people within our ranks, we shouldn't maybe call them ours, that are really consumed by ideology of hatred, and they claim that Satan told them to do so, or they are even groups of cults that were committing atrocities around the world. I mentioned recently, or in some of my previous videos, that I am really intrigued in the history of criminology and also of these aberrant behaviors. And you know that there were a lot of mass murderers, mostly in the US, that were claiming that they are like Satan's sons and so on, and son of Sam and other people that were really like into this brutal form of Satanism. And we can say that they were not Satanists as such because they understood very little about it. Later on, after they committed the crimes and the police caught them at the end, they found something like Satanist Lave's Bible and things like that. But in general, these people were occultists. Not, they weren't occultists. Maybe they were like possessed by something, but mostly they were psychopaths. And psychopath is a deviance in human psychology. But there is not everything is not just like these roses, in current left hand path we have movements that are really extremist even today. But I would like to go a little bit into the history, where they come from and what are the roots of these occult groups that really do not have issues to do the worst type of things, like human sacrifices. We know that there were a lot of crimes in recently, also in the UK. The young boy that stabbed two women on the street because he thought that he created a pact with Lucy Future Focale, and he thought that if he will kill more women because he hated women, he will win in lotto. Yeah, unfortunately, this is crazy thing, but these type of things are happening also in the 70s, 80s. There were like a series of murders in Italy, that everyone near like city of Florence, I think, were that were practically done by a group of Satanists, and these were the Satanists that it was a ring of drug dealers, ring of practically human trafficking, prostitution, and these groups of criminals were also Satanists, and they were committing a lot of killings. They were killing young couples in cars and mutilating their bodies in a very horrific way. Mostly the women's were killed, their organs were removed, sexual reproduction organs were removed, to say it politely. So we have these crazy people going around that are. Thank you very much, Danny. Thank you very much. I don't think so. I don't think so, but it might come from fanaticism that is around, and definitely they wanted to have something like to show or to shock the world with a lot of like with a mass murder and the, and it was a murder. It was an act of terrorism that caused a lot of shock and chaos. And I will speak also about other groups also within Satanism that are terrorist groups, and we have them. They are officially terrorist. Like Order of Nine Angles, for example, a famous or unfamous UK satanistic group, still until today functional and existing. That is, if you have read their manifesto, they are like really going into the neo-Nazi sphere, thinking and willing to do chaos, destruction, and killings, just because they want to shock population. Yeah, so they are on the list of terrorist groups, and I think mm, they. I will speak about their why they want to do it, or what are their motives. It was. It is going into these anti-cosmic philosophies that the humanity should be purged and refabricated or like changed, and only it's this homo homini lupus, this person to person is a dog, and only strongest should survive. They consider themselves like messiahs of new order, of Satan, and they are going to kill all those that they can, because the chaos and destruction is should be done to create a new world in their psychology. But this is very strongly influenced by the neo-Nazi magical scene that I would like to speak, where it comes from originally. Yeah, all of these groups like Order of Nine Angles and social Darwinism and deism. Yeah, we can say, yeah, this that it's there. But okay, what we understand by current Satanism, yeah, we current Satanism, I would say it's extreme. But those that are from the US, maybe now I will say they were like extreme libertarism. But in US, I know that you understand it as a political movement. But in Europe, we understand that it's more like this French understanding, like the Satanists should have the freedom of their thought, and they can live according to their own rules, but they are not breaking the rules of others. They are again the social norms created by consumerism and so on, and practically wants to be free. It comes also into the Luciferianism, which is a little bit like not anti-culture or anti or negative or yeah, like anti-cultural movement. Luciferianism is more like occult movement. It understands that the Lucifer is like an inner light that should lead us to our self-understanding. Modern Goetia speaks also about that, like the spirits and these energies might be used to commune with them, and we can better ourselves. And also magically, somehow affect the lives of the others, but we are, or the huge majority of the left-hand path is repulsed even by animal sacrifice, not even the human sacrifice, or to do this some kind of destruction and so on. But not all. Yeah, there are these groups that have this very strict view on it, that they consider themselves evil. Like, and what is evil? It's for them is this social Darwinism, that they consider themselves like wolves between the sheep, and we are all the sheep. Like, according to their understanding, we are not Satanists. We are not Luciferianism, Syrians. We are just playing with something. But if you see the history of the magical grimoires and everything, people were trying to do magic to make their lives better. They were looking for love. They were looking for money. They were looking for spiritual development. Working with Goetia in the 15th, 16th century did not mean that that the magicians were going around and were killing people. Although in some books like Red Dragon, you have a mentioning of the human sacrifice, or that there were some materials being used, like candles, wax candles from the dead prisoners and so on. But it was never the purpose. Never. It was not the. It was not this human distraction, this cruelty. Yeah. Mostly these magicians were being persecuted by Inquisition and by Church, because of course their understanding were very liberal, and they did not want it to have the dictatorship of the church. I believe also that the Leviathan Satanism was like that. It was anti-culture, or it was anti-church. Yeah, but they later on they were demonized. But we have in modern occultism of the 20th century, we have these extreme groups that thought differently. They are so-called anti-cosmic. We have several now, but I would like Thursatru, which is a Nordic Satanism, a form of extreme Satanism. We have O9A, Order of Nine Angles. They are like really extremist Satanists. We have also some extreme groups that are influenced by Nazi ideology. We have, and it comes mostly from, again, from this time of the French Revolution. Yeah, this libertarianism started, like the freedom of the person. God is like there is a human instead of God. There is a society. And there is always this extreme point on that, like why God? If God is not existing, then this is the world of Satan. Yeah, there were people that took it in this way, and it's the survival of the fittest. Yeah, so there were these extreme groups even in the 16th, 17th century. They were fanatics, I would say. They were killing just because of the joy. There were some lodges, and but they were very extreme minority. Yeah. Sadism, like Marquis de Sade, when he was in 18th century, is speaking about, if you have read this book, which is quite extreme, 120 Days of Sodom, that he wrote. He speaks about a depraved group of French and Swiss nobles that go to the castle somewhere in Swiss, and they take young prostitutes, boys and girls, with them, and they had the strangest and most brutal 120 days orgies that end with the worst way of sadism, masochism, and so on. And he describes all this in that book. It's very hard reading, but from a psychological point of view, we understand that sadism, like Marquis de Sade, which was a historical figure, was practically, the sadism is called after him. So if you are into very disturbing literature that has some psychological, I think, value, this is the book. But if you are someone of if you don't want to have like really nightmares of it, or I would avoid it. Yeah. So but there were people like these depraved companies. Yeah, that are always the thought, even in his time in the 18th century, that people that are rich, people that are depraved, can do everything to fulfill their darkest desires. Yeah. And was it entirely fiction, or was it a little bit true? I think that partially, and I'm not speaking about conspiracies, it was true. Partially, there were people like this. Gilles de Retz, the noble French in the 16th century, was a historical figure that was killing. That was practically a Satanist, one of the earliest ones in the 16th, in extreme way. Gilles de Retz wanted to have. He had the financial problems because he was living very luxury life, although he was distant to the king, and he started to do human sacrifices of people around him, young girls and so on, in very brutal way, cutting their limbs and so on, taking their intestines and everything. And later on, he was, although that he was on such high level of the society, he was later on judged, and he was decapitated. So he created a lot of cruelty, and it's known that he was doing rituals. He was trying to evoke demons. It is said that he was not successful, but he wanted to invoke, for example, Beelzebul, and was offering young girls to him. Yeah, so it's extreme. Yeah. And this is a great question, Studio Noir, and I'm getting to it. Why do we have these anti-cosmic, misanthropic, atheistic groups? Yeah, so it comes from this morbid fascination about it, that if you offer extreme offering, that it will be different from standard offerings that we have. But I think that from psychological point of view, if Gilles de Retz was killing the ladies and the girls, he was a psychopath. He got high from it, like sadists, like mass murderers. He really felt this elation from it. So it's morbid fascination. It's a little bit psychopathic. And of course, there was this Satanism in it. He later on even like confirmed that, yes, that he had his magic grimoire and so on, and things like that. So there were these people later on with Marquis de Sade and so on. I don't want to say that Marquis de Sade was a Satanist. He was more like he was trying to shock the society, although that he was really libertine. And it somehow survived. Yeah, there was also these ideas, that I don't believe that they were true, like the Sabbath. The Sabbath, were like, uh, yes, they are meeting in the woods, having sex and offering children, and eating their blood and drinking their blood. It was sexual fantasies of the middle times. Is something hidden, something dark, and so on. Modern hysteria was there, but you had like groups of extremely rich people or sadists that were doing these type of things, that were in a minority way. Mm, later on, uh, if we go into the area of Romanticism, 19th century and so on, we have a huge growth of so-called Freemasonry. Freemasonry again was developed from French from French times, also from that mostly in France. These were also people that wanted to somehow change the society to the better. At least they thought they were practically elite society, but they were nobles or people that were quite rich and created this kind of lodges. And of course, there were several like rides. There were Scottish ride, French ride, and so on. But where I'm going on to is in the UK in the 18th century there was this Hellfire Club. Uh, Maybe some of you know, Hellfire Club was a place of, or a group of very rich British and English, mostly English, like nobles. I don't want to speak now about the royalty, because this is still living thing in the UK. So if you are from the UK, I apologize, but you can check the Hellfire Club, and it's believed that the Hellfire Club was really like they were just enjoying these type of things. There are these stories, but I don't want to go into the conspiracies. But for example, they believe that the Jack the Ripper was part of the Hellfire Club. So he was a gentleman, probably because he killed these five unfortunate ladies in the east side of London. But the way how he killed them indicated that he is educated person, because it was done as if someone who is a doctor or known or knows or surgeon is doing that. It was or maybe a butcher, yeah, but if we don't believe that. But the way how it was solved and the way how it was put under the carpet maybe indicates that it was someone with from the higher echelons of society. And this Hellfire Club was also like this. They had these type of meetings and so on. There was this front, and then there was like orgies and so on, and also probably crime going on. And if we move a little bit more to the east, if we come to the cities of Germany, uh, the cities of Germany in the 19th century, in the 18th century, you have a very strong lodge of German Freemasons that did not want it to follow the French or Scottish. I don't want to say that Freemasons were doing it. Yeah, we have like, they were like kind people. We have still Freemasons there here, but there were these extremes. And in Germany, you had also quite rich nobles when the Germany was uniting itself. But before it was even united, there were like two strongest states in Germany: Prussia and Bavaria. Bavaria was, or Bayern, it was the richest kingdom. And there was a very strong German lodge called Bavarian Illuminati. It was officially started in 1776, so we are very close to the French Revolution, to the Jacobins and so on, and they were considered the elite. Yeah, and but in the lodge of Bavarian Illuminati was a little bit different in the 18th century, because Germany was split into several city-states, and they wanted to unite, and of course, at the time under Bavaria, which did not happen because Prussia became a little bit more, yeah, Germans here know the history better, but Bavaria wanted to unite it, and they were Catholics, and the group started with extreme nationalism. They started to develop something like their own doctrine of German cultural superiority. At that moment, it was cultural superiority. It wasn't racial or anything like that. We just thought that we, as a nation, later on, when we will unite, we will create a society that will be superior, and it will fulfill our imperialist dreams of the 19th century. Yeah, and it was occult society, Bavarian Illuminates. There were it grew slowly, and there are theories that later on, like a lot of Bavarian Illuminates were also very high-ranking nobles and royalty in Germany before the First World War. So we are now moving to the 20th century, and I will get to these extreme things, but sorry about the history lesson. In the 1914, the First War started. There are some uh, thoughts or theories that even the Kaiser Wilhelm, which was the Emperor Wilhelm of Germany, was an not Bavarian Illuminate because he was Prussian, but was connected with these high orders, and was very, very focused on nationalism and imperial power, authoritarianism. And then started the war. The war ended. The First World War ended in 1918. The Germany got into the political chaos of Weimar Republic, where fascists or Nazis were fighting mostly the communists and there is from this chaos, from this anger, from a myth that it was called like that we were stabbed in the back by that we should have won the war. Germans were at that time saying that we were not defeated on the battlefield, but we were defeated from the inside. This was the myth. It's not entirely true. That was built mostly by Nazis. And why I'm mentioning this all, because Adolf Hitler, who was Austrian and coming from very poor, relatively poor family, and he was not successful as an artist and anything. He went to Bavaria, and although he was never an occultist in a fool, when his movement started to become stronger, there was a putsch and so on. He was put into the jail. He started to be funded a little bit by people from that were members of Bavarian Illuminati group that were already like nationalists, and there was an inner circle within Hitler that were much more stronger occultists. Hitler was just an opportunist. He saw that, okay, these people are occultists, but he didn't care as much. He wanted to have the power and to restart the war again. At least what we think. But there were a few people around him that were quite strong into the occult, and in this extreme form, the believing that the nationalism starts to become a racism. They started to think, no, it's not only about cultural superiority, it's about racial superiority. We are Aryans, we are different than other nations, we are better, stronger, we will take the world, and if the world is not going to do as we want, then the world will be reforged in the Aryan fire. You see where it goes? Like it sounds almost like this Order of Nine Angles. Yeah? It just came from this area. And one of the main occultists of the Hitler's inner circle was Heinrich Himmler, who was also a member and the grounder of SS, which is, if you see this old, which was like Schutzstaffel, which was like elite paramilitaristic organizations, because Hitler did not believe, and also Himmler didn't believe in the army. Army was apolitical. They did not believe them. They wanted to have their fanatics there. And here we start to have, Himmler wanted to create SS as his own occult organization first. If you read the first manifestos of SS, you couldn't become a member of SS at the beginning if you couldn't prove your racial, and now this is crazy, like please YouTube, I'm just saying history here, so don't cut this, but it's a history. So they believe that you couldn't you couldn't become a member of SS if you couldn't prove the racial purity of your German roots at least 5 generations back. So if you by some coincidence have different, and they created a whole theory of who is allowed, who is considered racially pure. It was like this, and who is not. Yeah, so he must have been considered something like Aryan. Yeah, so there couldn't be like Roman or different things. He must come from Sweden, from Nordics, and so on. But it was a mess, yeah, because they realized very quickly that sixth generation. The things was that Germany was quite. They had a lot of historical information about the previous generations. They started to have this information in the old cities, like who is coming, who is child of whom, and so on. So they were quite structural, but still they were able to hire very few amount of people, and but it was considered a racial pure group. It immediately deteriorated because even Himmler, his history had to be changed because it was not according to their own standard. So it was huge big bullshit. But anyway, it started to be dangerous, and they created a first very strong occult organization that I would like to maybe speak to you about, that was doing practically magic. It was a Nazi think tank, historical think tank, and maybe you know it. The name of the order. It was part. It was a district within the SS. These were like researchers that were trying to find the origins of the Aryans and all of these type of things, and they created this Nazi think tank that is called Ahnenerbe. Ahnenerbe, it can be translated as, in English, I think, as ancestral heritage. Yeah, and they started to do these strange trips to Greenland, to Tibet, to everywhere. And I will very soon say you why. But this is if you are interested, it's like a real thing. And this was the sigillum, or the symbol of Ahnenerbe. You see that it's written in these Nordic runes that are there, and it got a lot of funding. It's so crazy how much money these people got, that it's believed that they got so much money that it can be compared with the money that the US spent on the Manhattan Project, on the development of the first nuclear bomb. So Germans were not, or they were trying to develop also a nuclear bomb, but yeah, Hitler hated it because it was, for him, it was considered a Jewish science because Einstein was a Jew. So yeah, so it kinda slowed the program. But they were trying to develop it. But this Ahnenerbe was doing these trips around, and they created this idea of Aryan, and that, like in history, we are being taught that the society probably there is this Indo-European movement. So the modern countries and so on were developed through the migration, practically from the east to the west to the Europe. And this was not what they wanted to have. They wanted to say that we are, as Aryans, as Germans, superior because we were the oldest, and every other nations came from us. So the human migration was not from the east, from the Indo-European steppes and so on, but no, it came from the Sweden, from Germany, and everyone else. And unfortunately, they did not never like explain why there were other races, it was that if there will be only Aryans, then there will be only Aryans everywhere. But no, they created this craziness that there was one like demonic race, and you know which one they thought about it. That created there was a mix of the race of the Aryan race with this race, and it created all of these sub nations. Yeah, and they meant Jew. Yeah, that the Jews destroyed the racial purity But not only the Jews, but also the people of color. They call them in very what in these very not nice words at that time. And also but it was all crazy, like they sent these expeditions to Tibet and so on to find out old Viking settlements in Tibet that would prove that Nordic people went there and they created the culture everywhere. Because Hitler was so angry, for example, that Egypt or ancient Greece or even Mussolini's Rome could prove that they have like older culture than in Germany. Yeah, they were compared to Germany were like a Germanic Teutonic tribes, and they haven't had pyramids or Delphi or Roman capital. So he started to change it. Himmler started to change it, like, and he said like, no Italians, no Greece. These were Aryans that came to the Greece and created the cultures. All of these cultures are coming from the north, and it was just forgotten because of the Jewish conspiracy, because of other conspiracies. We are just victims of this world conspiracy against us, this Jewish conspiracy. This is the beginnings of the racism. This is how they created this myth. Historically, they didn't found nothing. They went to Tibet. They found out strange things, by the way. They found out difference. They found, for example, the old things like they were looking for giants, for example. So yes, some type of these things are interested. At that moment, they did not know about DNA. Yeah, so they measured everything with like the skull and the measurements of skull, and there must be this eyes and this one, and you must have this chin and not that. So it was like pseudoscience. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's considered pseudoscience because it just was created, but they found some strange artifacts, it's believed. Uh, Mostly in Tibet, also in Egypt. They had a lot of money, so the instead of so they were traveling at the beginning of the war, of the war. Here they also started to create something that is considered like illegal now, and it's eugenics. Yeah, so they started to breed the total Aryan. Yeah, they and here again, this is touching a little bit these secret orders, because they started to, you can imagine, super powerful people, Nazis at that time, and they thought like, okay, I will be the progenitor of the new race. So Heinrich Himmler went and had sex with Czech actresses and so on. Yeah, things like that. Annenberg project was even creating from the members of the SS, they created like several men and women, where women were not part of the SS, but they were like chosen. They were given houses just to create families and so on, because they wanted in 2 or 3 generations to create this super race. Yeah, and it's true that historically there were maybe around 1,000 children that were born to these families. And after the war, these children were 9 years old, 10 years old. Yeah. Tragedy is that Nazis were even like taking children from other nations, for example, from Czech Republic, because Czechs, although Western, because we are considered Slavic nation, but they took them because some of them, according to their measurements, were Aryans. So they took and adopted those children to the program as well. Yeah. And these children, their identity was later on hidden, of course, because it would cause a lot of issues for the children. They couldn't. They were just born in those families. Yes, they were born to the Nazi families, and still to this day, I think these children have now maybe there is third or fourth generation of these maybe 1,000 children that are innocent, are living in our societies. Are they superior? No, they are like us. But the idea of bloodline was developed there. Yeah, and this idea of Nordic bloodlines, of this superiority, prevailed practically to the current era. Yeah, so they were willing to purge the race from other, like uh, from there was like the blood should have been pure, but the logic of this uh, is is just crazy. Yeah, it's not because moral. It's scientifically nonsense. Yeah, they were experimenting with blood and so on. So this anarchy was going on, and the groups like Order of Nine Angles is very strictly taking this from this philosophy, practically. But it's changed in the moment. Of course, they believe that they are chosen off, not by blood, many of them, but by spiritual egregore. They believe in the highest, like they believe in the spirits of the Nords, of these gods or something, that they believe that they are practically like being chosen or are being like charged by it, and they are spiritually superior, and they want to bring this new age of the strong only, this Spartan level. But now imagine this thing that you have, like there is this Order of Nine Angles. They have even like manifesto, and they have even their symbol. The symbol is like this. Yeah, this is the Order of Nine Angles. It's a terroristic group, and it should mean it should relate to the nine angles of John Dee. John Dee, who was like a magician, he believed that he was able to see the angels and so on. So they take a lot of from this type of philosophy philosophy here. But we know that they caused a lot of like it's like they are like lone wolves. Yeah, they want to, they go for a mass like murder spree. Yeah, usually I think it was believed that in the 90s or early 2000 there were maybe only 10 extremist people like these. Order of Nine Angles was not only in the UK; it was also in the northern. I think in Norway. It was quite prevalent in the heavy metal scene in the Norway, and there were some heavy metal groups that there were like murders between them. They or each one wanted to offer themselves to the Satan and so on. So Order of Nine Angles were trying to bring this type of new uh, by doing shock, yeah, to the populace and to other people. They just want to create this chaos. They are anti-cosmic. So what is anti-cosmic? Anti-cosmic is that I believe in the reversal of the order of things. We know that there are historical epochs and so on, and they want to revert it to the primordial chaos. They have like they are in a way their ideology is quite like deep, but it's anti-cosmical. They don't want to life to prosper. They want death. They really want the end of society, but not society to be better or not new or different. They want the end, like nihilistic way of of ending the world in flame, fire, destruction, and chaos. Because they believe that the humanity is more or less a virus, a pest. Yeah, and if it's like that. So, but imagine imagine that situation, that you are a person that adopts this ideology, how destructive it must be on your mind. You wake up each day full of hatred to everyone around you, everyone, and you just hate. This is you have some kind of ideology, and that is nihilistic, that is anti-cosmic. And here I want to speak about another group that is considered in current days not neo-Nazi or Order of Nine Angles, that are really like they're doing terrorist attacks, but has a very similar ideology, but it's still considered like Satanist, and it is quite prevalent in again in Norway, in Nordic countries. It's very connected with, it's this mix of neo-Nazi, Nordic mysticism, superiority, but in a very strange way. And the name of the group or of the philosophy is Thursatru, and you can search it out on the internet. What is practically what are the principles of this Thursatru, or what it means? It's relatively new. It started again in the 90s, and it's like religious, according to their name, to their own manifesto. It's religious sources worship of the adversarial and sinister giants referred to as Turses. And they say about themselves that they're like based on the old Scandinavian religion and mythology, with a strong connection to anti-cosmic Satanism and Gnostic left-hand path. So, if you look at the Nordic religions that are quite strong now, yeah, we have this we have these new religions, these anti-cosmic. Not the religions of the old Nords were not anti-cosmic. They believed in a revival, or in they were very connected, I think, also with the Hindu tradition, that they believed in the revival of the world. They believed that the Ragnarok, the end of the world, will bring a new world where after the death of after the death of gods, the humans will be living in the world, yeah, and it will be a new world. And they did not believe in the death of the cycle of life, yeah. Gods as such were beings of order, Odin, yeah, or if we speak Wotan in German, they are practically the same, where or Jupiter in Roman. They are practically the rulers of the order of beings, and they are rulers of the pantheon of gods that are responsible for fertility, love, war, sex, everything. And this is the world was split into several realms. There was Elvish realm, there was Niflgaard, the land of the death. There were Muspelheim, there were land of the gnomes. There was a land of people, and but it had order, and this order came from the dead giants. From the dead giants. Giants in Greece, they are called, and sorry for my Greek friends, I think they were called like Hekatoncheira, 100 armed beasts in Tartarus, where they are imprisoned by Zeus. Yeah. So the gods defeat the giants in so-called gigantomachia, in a war against giants. In Nordics, the old the giants are these Tursa, yeah, that they are called themselves like that, are beings of chaos, of anti-cosmic powers. They are the Tiamat. They are the Leviathan. And I will try to put some resources. Yeah, of course. And these beings of chaos, they don't want the order. They don't want the, the world as we exist now. They are anti-cosmic. They are order of nine angles between the humans. Yeah, they are Thursatru. They are the beings of to return. Yeah, why Germans swastika is moving from left to right. In Hindu, you have also swastika, but in an opposite order. It symbolizes the wheel of life from left to right. Is a symbol of life energies, but I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. From right to left. That's the symbol of Hindus. Yeah, that's the symbol of life. The wheel turns, but they want to reverse the turn. Swastika is opposite. Swastika is the Nazi swastika. Is a symbol of death. Is a symbol of turning the order to chaos, turning the order of life to chaos. This is the extreme left-hand path. It's not the left-hand path the majority of us are. It's not Luciferian transcendental development. It's degradation. They don't want to develop. They want to return back. They want to return back to chaos, to destruction, to the end of the species. They Thursatru religion worships giants, which was they were never worshipped in Nordic society. Never. They were feared. Yeah, although sometimes gods had wives, and they were, between the gods there were like giants in Nordic mythology, because it should always give us information that even between the beings of order there is always the side of chaos. There is always this negative shadow, and so that was okay. But they believe totally in the return of the order. They would like to prepare also the rituals invoking these spiritual rebels. So how to do it on the mass scale of society? How to turn the life to death? I think someone here mentioned American extremist group Atomwaffe Division SS. This type of people, maybe you have of those that you are from the US, of course, probably knew about them. It's extreme neo-Nazis group that would like to. Also, they have like political, but they have also occult background, and they are anti-cosmic. Yes. So how can you destroy the world by doing a mass scale terrorism, like the ritual of the anti-cosmic ritual can be, and again, YouTube, this is just we speak about this, so can be a mass murder according to their understanding. Yeah, so it's the destruction. They believe that through destruction they create this egregore of destruction. Blood produces blood. War creates more war. Illness brings more illness. And these type of people, of course, might have like political views and so on, because they don't like, I don't know, left and right and so on. But the ideologists of these groups, they are mostly coming from or they are influenced by extreme nihilism, and of course, these extreme mass murders. Yeah. Communism loved mass murders. Communism is, of course, and I can say I was born in the area or under the Iron Curtain. Communism as an atheist movement was very deeply like atheistic. I think, at least I think there was no occult like movement within the communist regime, but they wanted to create a new order. But they believed in the order of a new society. They wanted to have socialism that where sorry, communism was the higher form of social. It was a social utopia. So I don't think that their aim was to destroy the world. It was only to create social utopia that was practically destroyed by greediness and by the human flaws. And of course, it took a little bit from Marx and so on, but even Lenin was practically a dictator. He told, I think, in his scriptures that we should explain, like we should build socialism uh, with a rifle in hand. Yeah, we should change the people's mind with a rifle in hand. So they will do as we say if we or we will kill them. So they wanted to create this purge, but not on the racial form, but more on some kind of idea. Yeah, so it's a little bit different form of hell than Nazism. But I want to go back into our era. We have a lot of crazy like cults, not only the satanistic and left hand path, but within the left hand path we have really anti-cosmic movements like Order of Nine Angles or Thursatru. If that's when someone says to me like, "But you Satanist, you are a Satanist and you are offering people," I say I am not a Satanist. I consider myself a Luciferian. But if someone tells to me like Satanists are doing this type of things, I can't say no, because there are people there. But you have extremists in every type of uh, society. Oh, Danny, you have another question, and thank you. Do you agree with the Satan 666 is saying, Magister? So I now have to check what Satan SS 666 is saying. Wisdom Keeper, we fought to get where we are today. Could you please maybe just repeat it in the chat, and I will reply to you if I agree with it or not. I need to check, because there are others are. Let me check briefly. I don't care about other races. They aren't worth my time. I want to Europe to be greater than we need to have our own babies and pure European families. Other races aren't human. Okay. I don't agree, Satan 666. I think this is totally bullshit what you are saying. And I'm going to block you from this, because it's something totally different from my from what I am saying here. Yeah. To be honest, I don't believe in this type of things. I don't believe in racism or in white babies or brown babies, and that Europe must be great again. And and this type of thing. As Europe is extremely multicultural society that was always mixing itself with many cultures, whether from Greece, Ottomans, and history is not only about some white supremacism. It's just an excuse to have some kind of like feeling for superiority because I was born like I was born. I believe really in human transcendence of mind. I have a lot of friends from everywhere, whether they are Muslims, whether they are Hindu, whether they are from India, and many of them are living in the Europe. I am also living in different country that I was born in. I don't believe in that bullshit. It's stupid. Probably you should have some friends from other cultures. Would make your life more nice. So, thank you. I know that this is a controversial topic, but we. I noticed here, someone was mentioning Mr. Cotting. Uh, I know that they were like sayings about him that he was writing something for Order of Nine Angles before, and this is not naming or shaming. I don't know. Yeah, it's an old topic. I know that his YouTube was later on blocked because there was one of these guys that killed those two ladies, and he was visiting these videos. But you know, this can happen to everyone. This can happen here. Like someone will just watch my videos, will do this terrible thing, and then they will say that Magister Klaus is saying some hatred. The topic of this stream is not about defending Nazi ideology. I just say what they were doing and what they were believing in, and you know me, I'm far from this type of ideology. On the contrary, but I can speak quite well about it because I just am interested in it. Yeah. I believe if we speak about development of magic, that they are that the all of these types of magic, whether they are mm, voodoo, whether they are I'm not speaking Thursatru. I don't agree with Thursatru. I think it's a neo magical thing because they say that they are Nordic, that they believe in Nordic history, but this is not Nordic mythology. They created something totally alien from what those people believed in those times. They worship giants. So, but my practice is enriched by so many cultures. I am currently reading an interesting book called Voodoo Gnostic Workbook, which is a combination of Gnostic Western mythologies, mysteries, combined with voodoo. So we as a society are creating new forms of magic that this voodoo gnostic workbook works with the voodoo, mostly Haiti laws, but they work also with Shinto kami. And this is the author is allow me, I will show it. Just allow me. Yeah. So the author is famous Michael Berthiaume. Yeah, it is probably you have. It's a huge, but it's a beautiful system. I must review this later on. And the book speaks about working with many types of. It's a form of. Uh, Mr. Berthiaume was a philosopher, mostly like living. I think maybe he's still living. I hope that he is. And he is also a painter and so on. And he created this system taking a lot of Haiti, Shinto, and also Western magic. And it's not something totally new because Haitian form of voodoo was affected by Western magic, by French grimoires. Yeah, if you look at the veves, the symbols of Haiti loas, they are very similar to the sigils of the demons. So the why I'm saying this type of things, because I believe in the mixture of magic cultures, and this mixture of magic cultures does not recognize race. Yeah, and I don't want to be this modern guy, like, okay, like, it's that it's a taboo to speak about this type of thing, but I really believe it. I believe in the exchange of cultures. And if someone from Haiti would tell me, like, you are a Slavic guy from Eastern Europe, you can't work with laws, that's not true. And so embrace the area. You might like your culture. I like my culture, but I don't consider it superior, or especially in magic, when you connect with people from, as I do this channel. In this channel, you have people from so many countries and parts of the world. So that's why I don't agree with this. It's hatred. Just to I don't want to be full of hatred, because if you are, exactly as Get Smart Quick is saying, you can't monopolize the gods and culture. It is giving us extreme richness to embrace it. Yeah, to and that's what we are, how we should develop. I think it's just my opinion, but you might have different. But I think I don't want to be as a magician, as someone who is full of myself and full of this negativity, that I am like, oh, I'm enjoying to be dark. I'm anti-cosmic. I hate humanity. I want to be, because I have some internal pain in me, and I'm going to curse everyone who has different opinion about me, or I'm going to kill even. Yeah, so okay, enough with me moralizing, just on the statement that we had here. I would like to return to the books before we say to ourselves goodbye. I have to have a little bit of coffee. Sorry. Getting cold. There was one book that created this type of myths about mystical powers of Bavarian Illuminati, and later even the neo-Nazi orders believed in this Ahnenerbe. They believed in the magic power of a Vrill. Uh, it's and this is funny. Those of you that played these type of games, like Wolfenstein, or these type of things, maybe you know, maybe not, but Wolfenstein Castle really exists, and it was really a part of the Nazi order. It was the headquarters of Himmler's inner circle during the war, and it really had in the Wolfenstein Castle. I think it's called Castle Wolfsburg, and you have even this rotated swastika there, yeah, this black sun symbol. And it's believed that it was like a classroom for the high-ranking SS. And Himmler was doing there these type of things, and they created these. Yeah, we are getting there, like the Thule society. Yeah, to be honest, no one sure is absolutely knows whether Thule society is just some kind of like myth. or it really existed. We know about Bavarian Illuminati, we know about the Ahnenerbe, the neo-Nazi think tank, but some occultists within the Ahnenerbe and also Himmler's inner circle were mentioning in their diaries Thule Society. Thule is a mystical island somewhere, probably in Nordic, in Baltic Sea, or in the Northern Ocean. That was believed to be not Atlantis, but something like Atlantis, something where uh, these mystical birds of Nordic gods and so on comes from. Yeah, so Thule, they believed that, and uh, they believed that they were trying even to find this. Anneneber was trying to find the Thule, so they went to Greenland and were also trying to explore Baltic seas and things like that. But they believed in mystical power of Vrill, which is Hindu lands. When they went to Tibet, they found out that there is there is this power of Shiva and Shakti, this pranayamic energy, and they really believe that that the real, the original energy is somehow can be activated by these monks. But what is this real? It is coming from a science fiction novel from the 1897, and probably Himmler was also reading it because he was an avid reader of science fiction books. And I think I have even I can show it to you. The book is called The Coming Race, and I think it is the author was Edward Bulwer Lytton, but Edward Bulwer Lytton from the 1871. He published this book called Vrill, The Power of the Coming Race, and you can find it. It says that like the humanity is meeting with mystic extraterrestrial race that is able to, through the like power of the storms and electricity, to give them like the power of Vrill, which is practically the power to do miracles, to do thaumaturgy, to do everything. And they Nazis later on in the 40s, they believed in this so much because it somehow they believed that this Mr. Lytton was somehow in contact with this race. That the book is not fiction, but it's practically a diary of someone that Mr. Lytton knew. But it's again, I think it's a myth, because when you read Bram Stoker's Dracula, it's similar case. Like many people think that Bram Stoker, he was occultist, by the way. Bram Stoker was occultist, the author of Dracula, and they believe that he knew about lycanthropy and vampirism. So, but back to the Vril. So they believed in it so much that they wanted to find these places, or to connect with this race of extraterrestrials to get this energy of Vril, and to make it for weapons, to have this Wunderwaffe, and there are so many theories about it, and I would say that it's bullshit. This is not true. But I'm from Czech Republic, and in Czech Republic it was neighboring with Germany. It was part of the German protectorate during the Nazi regime. They practically this was part of Nazi Germany, although it was called Protectorate of Böhmen and Mähren, of Bohemia and Moravia. And we still have, until today, when there was a lot of bombardments going on and Germany was losing the war in the 44, they moved a lot of their very strange production of these specific weapons and things into the Czech mountains and also Czech caves. And still, like it's real. You can see there are objects there still that they built huge complexes, but but they had like no. mm, it's very strange because they were not for like V1, V2 for these missiles and so on. They are like really like orbital pillars. Like if they want to start something like UFO makings or things like that. There are even photos they were trying to make. There was really an UFO, like or this type of old UFOs. They were doing this type of projects, and they were creating like generators of electricity and things like that. And no one knows what they were actually doing because these caves were built by prisoners, and unfortunately by thousands of prisoners, and they killed all of them. No one survived, and all of the documentation is away. But you find like very strange places where they probably at the end really wanted to. Some believe that they wanted to really invoke through this power of electricity this Vrill energy. And I would say it's bullshit, but it's not. They were the secret facilities in Czech, where the Germans were doing it. So yeah, it's all myth, fantasy, science fiction. My personal opinion is they were extremely deluded about some things. Yeah, like if you some things might have, because it failed at the end, but they were really like afraid of magicians, Nazis, like when they mostly of in Czechia we had like very few very famous magicians. Some of them you might even know, like Franz Bardon. He was a Czech, although the name Franz is he speaks perfectly German, of course, and so on. I think he was partially German, but he lived in Prague. And Franz Bardon is one of those that like I consider myself one of his like students in 3 generations later or four. And he had a friend called Jan Kefa, who was also a very famous magician. You might find his book. I don't know whether it was translated, but it's called Synthetic Magic. Jan, Jankefer, Jan Kefer, and he tried also with his inner circle to curse Hitler and also Himmler. And shortly before that, they wanted to hire Jan Keffer to Ahnenerbe, to this group. Also, Franz Bardon. They wanted to have them, and they refused. They even had a friend that was also a magician that knew about their operation against Himmler, magical operation. They wanted to invoke. Yes, I did. I did complete it, initiating into hermetics. It took me almost 3 years when I was younger, and uh, they tried to do it, and one of their friends just explained to Gestapo, which is like secret police, Nazi secret police. It was secret, like Geheime Polizei, Geheime Staatspolizei, secret state police. And they told him that he's trying to do this magical, that they did this magical ritual. And a few days later, they apprehended Jan Keffer, and they took him to Nazi concentration camp, and he died there. So there were a lot of Czech magicians that were killed during they were really afraid of magical warfare. It was not just some kind of like they really either believed in it, or and it's also believed that he has like protection magicians Himmler again around him and so on. So strange stories, and you can still find strange places around. And the story of Franz Barden was very sad, unfortunately, because Franz Barden never wanted to cooperate with Germans. He refused to be a part of the Annenberg circle, but he was even hiding uh, at the end of the war because before Gestapo. And after the war, uh, he was 3 years later after the war in 1948, he was imprisoned by communists, and they told him like that by Stalinists, because they told him that he was like working with the Nazis, and he was like, "Are you crazy? I was always against them." And they put him into the. Uh, he ended in prison, in political prison, and he had to go to the mine to dig uranium, which is a radioactive. We have uranium caves here. The uranium was digged for nuclear weapons for Russian military regime, and of course he got ill because it's radioactive. So he later on died. Practically, we think that he might have died on cancer. So strange things because he was breathing the dust, the radioactive dust. So Franz Barden, yeah, very interesting books. So he was hated by all regimes because of his freedom of thought, as are so many magicians being hated right now. Uh, Maybe final words from me. Although we have these type of people around, I think it does not mean that we are all like them, and can can say that this is one extreme branch of it. You had these extreme branches also of other religions, like you have in Islam, you have extreme Islam like ISIS. It was also partially built on some kind of myth and superiority. Yeah. ISIS, or you have a lot of other extreme groups that are just living this way. Yeah, so some final questions because before I go to sleep. You see, it's already late here. uh, uh, yeah, the book is hard. It is quite hard. It is quite hard, and the beginnings of Franz Barden, but it's good. Some people say that Franz Barden is methodology is already obsolete. I don't believe so. I prefer Franz Barden's initiation to hermetics um, to Crowley's Liber Abba. I think Franz Barden is better. And speaking about Crowley, Crowley was a big fan of Bavarian Illuminates. He was also spending some time on Sicily in fascist Mussolini's land. So, as you know, I'm not very big fan of Crowley for many reasons. Yeah. Okay. So, my friends, try to search out Franz Barden's book. If you are interested in Vrill, maybe you can search for The Coming Race by Edward Bulwer-Lytton. Uh, Very good book that I am currently being really involved with. With this book is the Wooden Gnostic Workbook, but let's speak about this maybe in a few weeks because it's a tome, and I still owe you few reviews of other books like Elucidations of Necromancy. I know that I should do it by attributed to Peter Abano and so on. So as I say, here we have maybe parting thoughts by Kaizen. Vision and the voice scares me, and they say demons are scary. Those ether angels are terrifying. Yes, some energies and angels specifically can be even terrifying, but if you will get into the mindset and you will advance in your practice, you will start to be more and more ready to face it. But believe me, as I said at the beginning of the video, the worst demons are in us. The most evil deeds that you can encounter is not through demons, because but maybe through demons within us. People can be really cruel, like these groups like O9A. They are cruel because they want to be cruel. So yeah, I am not like that. I don't think so. I have my shadows in me. I do, but yeah, it's not worth it, I think. Uh, Yeah, we had a lot of people from QAnon. Now I will lose a lot of subscribers. Probably. They will not like it from now on. If but I am not taking anyone's right to think what he wants. But really, I don't believe in hatred. This is yeah, I don't believe in it. So anyway, enjoy it. I hope I was not too boring. It was controversial subject. These Leviathan shows will always be like that, and I wish you a great day. What can I say at the end? Just be yourself and beware the demons in you. The outside demons you can always put away through your will. And this is a good idea at the end, jump back. Yes, maybe I can do something about dreams. I'm having a lot of dreams in recently. Uh, the Nazi think tank. Okay. I will type it here because it's quite tough German word. It means ancestral heritage, and it can be said Ahnenerbe. And this is the word. Okay. Take care and speak to you soon. Have a good day. Fraternity Saturni. Yes, they are quite good, and they are considered my favorite. So, not on this type of scale. Fraternity Saturni. I knew even like a member of Fraternity Saturni. Of course, I can't disclose. They are very um, close society. If we do have some fraters here, I greet you. I like your order. So enjoy and have a good day and night.